Well, hello everybody. How are we tonight? Good, good. Any dads here? All right, I'm a dad. I love being a dad, and I knew all my life I wanted to be a dad, mainly because my dad was so awesome. He always made me feel safe, and he's not here tonight, but he's fine. He lives in Kirkland, and he couldn't make it, but he was awesome. And I grew up in the previous century. I was born in the 1980s, and I was afraid of everything, largely because of G.I. Joe and everything else on television. I was afraid that ninjas would come out of the sewer. I was afraid that around any trail there might be some quicksand. And I was afraid based on how many times we talked about the song, because you learn important things in songs, right? Like the alphabet, states, capitals, but also what to do if your clothes catch on fire. What do we do? If your clothes catch on fire, just stop. All right, so we're safe. We're safe, good. And my dad, he always made us feel safe, and none of those things ever happened to me. And so I just want to thank my dad. He was awesome. I was also afraid that people would break into our house and kill us all. Who's ready to laugh? I asked my dad one time, I was like, Dad, what do I do? I was 4 years old, and I was going to bed, and he's like, Jason, this is what you gotta do. All right, it's real simple. Just lay real still. Pull your sheets all the way up to your neck. They'll think your head's cut off. They'll move on. I love you. Good night. I was 4 years old. And that's when I learned that heads are detachable. But I still sleep that way for safety. So thank you, Dad. I have 2 kids, 2 teenage children, and having 2 teenage children helps you learn to be unimpressive and be okay with that. Like today, my daughter, I was getting ready and I was like, is this fit? Does this fit have Riz? And she almost died. I was like, am I using that right? And she's never used that, Dad. And it's like, okay, all right, okay. But do I look all right? She's like, yeah, get out of here. So I'm used to being unimpressive, so this is working out. But what really prepared me to be a disappointment was being a middle child. Any middle children here? Who cares, right? All your life. Some of you are middle children and you didn't make any noise because you're like, this is a trap. My brother's gonna hit me. I get it. But being a middle child was awesome. You get 2 years of being the baby. The world is yours and you can't even remember it. And one day your mom and dad look at you and say, you are not enough. Let's get another one. Just get used to being a disappointment. And raising teenagers, it's hard. There's a lot of pressure on families because you want to have these great kids. But what we learned is you gotta give your family permission to fail. Like my kids, they suck at soccer. Largely because I failed to sign them up. But it works out. It works out. My wife and I, we've been married 19 years in July. We have 19 years. 2 middle children. We found each other. We're safe. And we just went to her grandpa's wedding. He got married at 90 years old. Yeah, he can still pull. Did I use that right? I don't know. And so we got us to talking, like, what do we do? Like, if one of us dies. And this is a very delicate situation, gentlemen. If your wife asks you, what are we gonna do if one of us dies first? And this is like a Jeremy Renner Hurt Locker situation where you've seen some things, right? You've been through some stuff. Any wrong wire is gonna blow up in your face. And so I said to my wife, I was like, well, what do you wanna do? Because I'm a leader. And she said, if I die first, I don't want you to get remarried. I was like, okay, cool, all right. I know the parameters of this conversation. So I said, if I die first, I just want you to be happy, right? And she said, thanks, I will be. I love you, good night. That's all from me, everybody.